I always feel like that thing is saying, "Wait patiently, wait patiently, wait patiently."
I just sit here and make train noises. Dun, dun, dun,
Train
dun.
noises. So I think that was a good session we had just now with
Yeah,
Psalm
that's good.
47. Indeed. So we are now looking at the second part of exercise 34 because last week we didn't get through all of it. So we're going to
Right.
continue into it. And my mom is back here saying hello again.
Hello.
Missamechet libi. Missamechet libi. It makes my heart glad. You know how to say that in Hebrew?
Well, I just
Missamechet
heard you
libi.
say it, but
Yeah, it makes my heart glad. Missamechet libi. Great. Let's throw that down. Who is, besides my mother, who's out there in YouTube land with us? I don't see Adel having joined us.
yeah.
That's
No
a
Adel,
little bit
any Galen
bothersome.
yet? No Galen.
Yeah. Efo kulam. Efo kulam. Do you know what that means?
Where is everyone?
Where is everyone? Where is everyone? Efo kulam. Good. You see how your ear is starting to pick things up?
Yeah.
That's from your ear.
Yeah.
That is not from looking at a piece of paper. That's in your ear, which means it's in your head, which means it's in your heart.
Indeed.
Yes. So Hebrew is becoming a heart language. That's as it should be. Great. So we are translating from Hebrew into English. We have 3 viewers out there. So if there's anybody from Patreon that wants to jump up on here and join us, we would be happy to have you. We don't want it to just be me and Colton. This is a group effort, and it's a fun thing. Before we do get started, by the way, I will throw up. Let me go over here and do this. Throw up here that. Can you see my browser?
I can.
TheHebrewCafe.com/uploads. Okay, it's on there. PDF, Weingreen key. Okay, if you go there, you have a copy of the key that I'm working on with all of the answers that, from my perspective. So this week, I was able to complete up to exercise 35, which is next week's. So my answers, my personal work, which I'm putting together as a key, as an informal, unofficial key of just my answers, is available online for anybody who wants to look at it and compare with their own work. Just be aware that in this, instead of writing Yud He Vav He or whatever, I actually write out the name Yahweh, Yahweh. I say Yahweh personally because that's how we pronounce Vav in Israel, is V. But if, oh my goodness, look at that, a typo. The King. You see that?
I
The
do.
King. That's a typo. It's good to find those things. So if you come across typos or things that you disagree with, please email me, Jason, at thehebrewcafe.com, and I will weigh whether or not to make the change. But now I know that I need to go in and change the king to the king. Number 7. Let's get started. Who is here? Nobody's telling us who's here or who's not here. So please say hello, other than my mom, who loves me and wants to make my heart glad. So number 7, I'll take. Vayomer Elohim totzei haaretz atzei pri asher zar'am bam vayichen. So and God said, Totze is going to be like Totzi. It's a hifil from Yatsa. Yatsa is Wetsa, Vatsa. So Totzi haaretz, it's a Jasif. Let bring forth. Let it bring forth, and it's feminine. Totzi would be masculine second person, or feminine third person singular. So Totze haaretz, let the earth bring forth. So Totze or Totzi is feminine because haaretz is the subject. Let the earth bring forth trees of fruit. Means fruit trees. Okay, so let's say fruit trees. Fruit trees, trees of fruit, which their seed in them, So which is kind of odd because we want a genitive. So we're going to say whose, even though who normally is used with people. In this case, whose is going to be used for things. Whose seed is in them. Because the zar'am, their seed, who, which, their seed, that's a genitive. right? So we're going to say whose seed is in them, and it was so. Vayihi chen, and it was so, or it became so, and it was so. Vayihi chen.
Yeah.
The word ken is often used for thus, just like the word kach. Kach and ken mean the same thing. In modern Hebrew, you use it for the word yes, because you say, are you happy? And you say, thus, or so. And it means yes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we use it for yes. It also is the word that is used for honest. Like you are not a liar, you are an honest person.
Mm-hmm.
Ben Adam ken. Ken means that you are honest. And the feminine is kena. Kena, kenim, kenot. So it's a very useful word, ken. It is also the root of the word for ready, mukhan, mukhan.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
All right.
It's nice to have all these words, tied together in your brain.
Yeah. All right. וישכב שם יעקב בלילה,
Not Yaakov.
יעקב בלילה ההוא. ויחלום, והנה אדוני מדבר אליו לאמור, אנוכי אלוהי אברהם, ואלוהי
Okay,
יצחק.
you've overcorrected. What is overcorrection? Where you're doing something wrong and then you fix it and you fix something that's not wrong. So it's not Anoki, but Anochi. And
Right,
it's not Yaakov, but Yaakov. So
right.
you overcorrected the katucha, or the backwards, the chatuka.
Yeah. Okay.
Vayishkav sham Yaakov lemor Anochi, the ch and the ka. In Arabic, these are very distinct sounds because you have you have ka and cha and ha and ka. Ka is the
Yeah,
kuf. Kuf.
yeah. אנוכי אלוהי אברהם, ואלוהי יצחק אביך, והיטב והיטב איתי עמך, כי מצאת חן בעיני.
All right. I think you went back to and you said Yitzchak.
I don't know.
Yitzchak.
Like I can't do it with two of them in a row like that. Like it's obvious that I'm just not able to make those sounds separate.
Yeah.
Um,
We gotta work on it. Gotta work on it. These are
yeah,
minimal pairs. You know the expression in linguistics, minimal
I
pairs.
do actually. I just learned about them a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. So these are oppositional pairs that you must distinguish. There you have to. Uh, so yeah.
Um. Anyway. Uh. Okay. And Jacob's. Yeah, Jacob. Uh. Stayed there that night. Slept there that night in Jacob's. Slept there that night. Uh,
It is like it's used for the idea of sleeping, but
it's
literally he
laying
lay
down,
down.
I know, but I never get lay versus lie down. Lied down?
So obviously lied is like didn't tell the truth.
Oh, lay.
So the
Okay.
past of lie is lay. Mhm.
Okay.
No,
No, it just that's what I'm saying. I was trying to avoid that verb for that reason.
that's the past tense. So lie, like
Yeah.
lie down goes to lay down in the past.
Okay.
And he lies, like he doesn't tell the truth, uh, is he lied. And he lays something down. I lay it down. This means to put. Lay means to put. That past tense is laid.
Okay.
I laid it on the ground, but last night I lay in bed and I wasn't able to sleep. I lay in bed all night and wasn't able to sleep because I lie in bed every night. I lie down every day. Yesterday I lay down and I have lain. The V3 is lain. This one is lied. And this one is again laid. I have laid it on the table.
Mm-hmm.
What a mess we have in English, yeah?
Yeah, it's horrible.
I am constantly talking to my mom about things that she says incorrectly. Because we're from Missouri, and in Missouri, you say things wrong all the time. My mom doesn't distinguish between sit and set.
I don't know that I
So
do unless I'm writing. I don't know, to be honest with you.
she says, "What are you doing?" I'm doing this, blah blah blah. And I said, "What are you doing?" And she says, "I'm sitting in the living room watching TV." Sitting. But it's of course sitting. I'm sitting in the living room. My sister doesn't distinguish between sell and sail. There's no difference.
You're talking about that one. That one's wild to me.
Yeah. So she says, you should come. This book is on sale. The book is on sale. I'm like, no, it's on sale. It's not on sale. I want to sell around the world. No, you want to sail around the world. I'm such a nerd, I tell you what. All right, so number 8. Vayishkav sham Yaakov balayla hu. Jacob laid down there that night. Vayachalom, and he dreamt. And many times it's going to say Vayachalom chalom. He dreamt a dream.
Yes.
He dreamed a dream of time gone by. So Vayachalom, he dreamed. V'nei Adonai medaber elav. Behold, the Lord speaking to him, saying.
I put it in the past tense because
that's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. Because the
Adonai spoke to him, saying, and then you want your quotes, quotation marks. Anochi Elohei Avraham ve'Elohei Yitzchak. Okay, now the word Avicha is in an apposition, right? It's Isaac is your father. Okay, great. It's fine. It's fine. I'm just working through it in my head. Anochi Elohei Avraham ve'Elohei Yitzchak Avicha ve'hitev etiv imcha. This is etiv. It's not etavti. Etavti is I have dealt.
Oh.
Etiv is the future.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm. I will deal abundantly well with you. I will do really good with you. Ki matzatachenu be'enai. You have found grace in my eyes. You found favor. In other words, I like you.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't like you.
Yeah. So I am starting to. So Kevin talked about the this infinitive absolute construction. Find that verb following it. It's one of those things where I hadn't thought about it before until he mentioned it, but like we use it in a way where it's like superlative in some way, right? Or
yeah,
it's exceedingly the thing, right? That doesn't mean like, but like it can change contextually, so it doesn't mean like I will certainly deal well with you, but like I will deal abundantly well. Like it's about it's like adverbial.
I think I listened to that podcast, and I think I remember walking on Steel Trend listening to it, and I think that I liked it a lot.
And but it's also one of those things where the same way that we get like the superlative noun in Hebrew, or like a way for a superlative. So like the Shir Shirim, like the Song of Songs.
Because we don't have a superlative.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Greek has absolute. I think they're called absolute, comparative, and superlative.
Sure. Yeah.
I think it's absolute.
Yeah.
It's like 0 degree. There's 0 degree, then there's more, and then there's most. Yeah. And most in Latin and Greek, most in Latin and Greek doesn't necessarily mean most. It can also mean very.
Yeah.
Superlative. But Hebrew doesn't have any kind of comparative or superlative nouns or adjectives. So what we say, instead of saying your younger brother, we say your brother, the little one.
Right. Well, even like the idea of like the example being like this, Song of Songs, like the Shir Shirim, like being like like being a prototype or like an example of the thing. Like
Yeah.
it is
The
the
King of
most
Kings. How about that? The King of Kings.
yeah, it's the most exemplary form of it, and so you assume that it has some kind of higher quality,
And King
maybe.
of Kings in Hebrew, of course, Melech Mlachim.
Yeah,
Melech, the King of Kings, Melech HaMlachim.
yeah. I just think
Melech
of
HaMlachim.
the book.
Shir HaShirim, because it's the title of a book of the Bible.
But
We got to push. Look how many we've got to get through. We
yeah,
got a lot.
sorry.
So let's
Let's
push,
do it.
push.
We're gonna get it.
So number 9, כי תצא למלחמה על אויביך, ונתנם אדוני בידיך, והיו לכם, לעבדים, וכי תישא אחת מבנותיהם חן לפניך, ולקחת אותה לך לאישה, וישבה בביתך, או בביתך, והיה אחרי ימים רבים, ולא תמצא עוד חן בעיניך, לא תמכור אותה לאמה, כי תשלח אותה כמשפט הזה. This is an interesting law, but okay. Let's take key as if, because this is a law condition. It's saying that if this happens, then this happens. If this happens, then this happens. So if this is if you go out, if you go forth to war against your enemies, okay, al oivecha. Interestingly, the singular for this, right? We would say oyev. Let's put this in Times New Roman so you can see it a little bit better. The word is normally oyev. It looks like a participle. Oyev, enemy, right? If we make it if we make it your enemy, okay, we have a condition where we have oyevcha, and they don't like that. So instead of oyevcha, they changed it to oyivcha. This is the normal form for your enemy. Oyivcha. Have you recognized that? Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the plural, vecha, we don't need to change this, so it's just oivecha. Oivecha. Right. Like we don't need the yi. It reduces. Okay, so if you go forth to war against your enemies, and the Lord gives them, netanam, the am is them, the Lord gives them, or he puts them, right? The Natan also puts them in your hand, meaning that he gives you victory over them, which is what we were reading in Psalm 47, that he subdued the nations under our feet, right? And he puts them in your hand, and they become... Let's take the "and" here as the result. They shall be slaves to you. Okay, they shall be slaves to you. They shall become slaves to you. So this is giving permission structure to slavery. If you should go to war against your enemies, and the Lord give them into your hand, then they shall be slaves to you. Okay? And then once you have this condition of slaves, where you are able to conquer people and turn them into your slaves, which is an awful, awful, awful thing. And the Bible should not be making excuses for this. Slavery is a disgusting practice, and it should not be permitted by any religious tradition. But having said that, let's keep going. And if one of their daughters, that is the women that belong to this people that you just conquered, one of their women, it says their daughters, but it means they're women. It doesn't mean daughters. Let's change that to women. And we'll say literally daughters. Okay? And one of their daughters finds favor before you, or takes up, bears favor before you. It's the same idea as finds favor in your eyes. Same idea. Okay? Let's think about this. If the velakachtauta is still part of the condition, yes, it is. No, we're going to take this as the apodosis. So you shall take her. You should take her as a wife, and she shall dwell in your house. Okay? That's the end of that expression. If this happens, this happens. So if you go to forth to war and God gives them into your hand, take them as slaves. And if among those slaves you find one of the women that you like, then marry her, and she will live in your house. Okay? So these are the if-then conditions. Now we have a different condition. So, and it will be, and it shall come to pass. Okay? After many days, okay, you've taken her from her slavery as a wife, and now she lives with you. But many days later, many years later, shanot rabot, shanim rabot, shanim rabot, yamim rabim. Often the word yam, or good grief, my brain is not functioning. It's yom. Often the word yom, yamim rabim, it could be used for years. So, like for example, the expression mi yamim yamima, it doesn't have anything to do with days. It's an expression meaning from year to year. Mi yamim yamima, from year to year, every year. So yamim rabim means many years. She'll come to pass after many years, like a long time after, that she doesn't find favor in your eyes anymore, that you don't like her anymore. You don't like her anymore. It shall come to pass that you don't like her anymore. You shall not, this is giving a commandment, lo tinkota, you shall not sell her as a maid servant, like a handmaid. That's a nice word, right? Handmaid? Handmaid. The Handmaid's Tale, ama, or shivcha. Ama, shivcha, it's a woman slave. Maid servant. That's another, okay. But the word ki here, it's used as if in the previous two expressions, but here it's like ki'im. If you say lo ta'aseh et zeh, ki ta'aseh et zeh. Okay, you shall not do this, but it's like ki'im, but rather. You shall not sell her as a slave, but rather you shall surely, we got this infinitive absolute, right? Shaleach shalach. Shaleach shalach ota. You shall surely send her away, but send her away is like what we say of Pharaoh. Shalach ami. Shalach ami, we don't say send my people away, we say let my people go. You shall surely let her go. Let her go. Let her go according to this law or judgment. Okay? Wow. I really hate the portions of the Torah that talk about slavery and act as if it's something that we need to accept. There is no reason why the God that said you shall not mix fabrics together could not have said you shall not own another human being as property. There must be a rule in the Torah that says you shall not own another human being as property. Slavery is disgusting. And that's my preachment for the day.
Okay.
I hope everyone agrees with that. Slavery must never be justified.
Yeah, well, it's just the thing that, like, of course, you know? But it probably isn't that clear for some people, but, you know. I think the larger bent of the Bible is obviously bent toward freedom. That's a butchering of a Martin Luther King quote, but I believe most people can agree about that. Most.
Not everybody always did.
No, absolutely not. That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying now, at least in America, I hope people can get past that.
We're dealing with texts that date back 2,500 years, 2.5 millennia, right? And they look at things that date back even further. Like they're dealing with topics that are from like 3 to 3.5 millennia in the past. And I understand that there was a different way of looking at the world. But it's very difficult for me, the idea that God inspired the texts and they don't do something that is sublimely holy and end the institution of slavery, period.
Yeah.
That would have been sublime and wholly beyond words. But instead, they chose to work within the context of slavery. And it's such an appalling failure of divine religion that they could have gotten rid of it with the stroke of a pen.
Yeah.
Sorry, it breaks the heart. It really breaks the heart that it wasn't corrected when it should have been corrected, and it took us another 3,000 years to get it fixed.
Yeah.
And it's even a problem today.
Right. Exactly. That's what I was about to say. It just takes different shape.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, no more slavery in our hearts, right? Let's
Right.
for freedom, Christ has set you free, right?
Exactly.
I don't know anything about Christ setting you free, but that's what the text says in the book of Romans.
Yeah, and that's Galatians 5:1.
Oh, is it Galatians 5:1? Okay, Galatians. Oh, there we go.
That's one of my favorite verses. So, Shamu Hamaraglim. Sorry, struggling.
And let's hear the next word.
Bakol.
Mikol.
Aisha vayeshvu ita. Okay, ita. Ita babayit. Sorry. Vayishkavu sham. Vayishkavu sham. Sorry, I'll read the whole sentence in a minute here, I guess. Vahiba boker ve'en ish ba'ir vatikach haisha et ha'anashim v'tored otam me'a hachoma ve'yemalatu v'nafsham hahara
Ahara.
V'hara, yeah. Vayehu sham shlosha yamim ad asher shavu harodfim ha'ira. Oh God, I have to slow down.
So we've got Hahara to the mountain and Ha'ira to the city. That's really nice.
Okay. The spies heard.
But listen, look at the Bekola. Sham'u Bekola Isham doesn't really mean they heard it. It means they listened to it or they obeyed it.
Oh, okay. They heeded.
Yeah, they heeded.
Why? No, we want spies.
Sham'u Hamaraglim Bekola Isham. I don't like the word order, but I left it. And I don't know why.
I'm going to put
Hamaraglim Sham'u Bekola Isha or Vayishme'u Hamaraglim Bekola Isha. I think it would be natural for it to start with the verb consecutive.
Yeah. The woman. And sorry, I
Spies heeded the voice of the woman and
they dwelled with her in the house. Stayed with her in the house. I know.
Stayed. Stayed is much better. They didn't live with her, but they stayed with her. What's the difference? Staying is temporary, right? They stayed with her.
Oh, okay. You were asking the.
But they dwelt with her means that it's permanent. They stayed there. That became their address and their home and their residence.
And they lay down there. Yeah? Did I get it right? Lay down there?
Which means they slept there.
Yeah. Okay, and it was in the morning. In the morning.
Mhm.
And there was no one in the city. And the woman took.
So this, and there was no one in the city. Ve'en ish ba'ir. This is setting a background in the explanation. And it came to pass in the morning that the women took, or the woman took. Woman should be singular.
Oh, yeah.
That the woman took.
The man.
So that's the actual structure. So the not and, but that. The verb consecutive is going to be translated with that. It came to pass in the morning that the woman took. And so all of this, and there was no one in the city,
Okay.
is background information. We're normally going to
Oh,
translate it a
okay.
little bit different. Not, and there was no one in the city, and it came to pass in the morning,
There was no
while no one was in the city.
Sure.
Like it's gonna be a piece of background information that's added, right?
Yeah.
So I would prefer it to be translated with while there was no one in the city, meaning that when people are not out and about, they're all still asleep. It doesn't mean the city was empty of people. It means that they weren't out in the street. That the woman took them in. ותורד אותם מעל החומה, it could be she lowered them, right? She
Yeah.
let them down, yes. And the word top obviously isn't there, but over the wall. She let them down over the wall.
So, yeah. From upon the wall, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Malat. Imalatu. In their.
So we should think of the verb as nimlat. Nimlat, lehimalet, yimalet, yimaletu.
Wives were spared?
They escaped. Vayimaltu lenafsham hahara.
They escaped to their lives?
They escaped for their life.
I don't like that.
They ran for their life. They ran for their lives. Yeah, that's good.
To the mountain.
Vayusham shlosha yamim.
Was.
No, they were. That's the men. The men were there. They stayed in the mountain.
Sorry. Okay. They were there 3 days. Until.
In English, the rule is that 1 to 10 are written with words, and above 10 are written with numerals. So you say 3 days, you have to write 3 days.
I don't have to do anything.
You do have to. There are rules in English.
There are conventions.
They were there 3 days until the pursuers.
Until the pursuers returned to the city.
Mm-hmm.
Not acuity.
Yes. All right. Great. Avadim ayu avotenu leFar'o. Again, this slavery thing. עבדים היו אבותינו לפרעה במצרים, ויוציאם אדוני אלוהינו משם ביד חזקה ובאותות גדולות. So the subject of hayu should be the one that is definite. That is something that we should kind of stress. So avadim is the predicate noun. You don't write the predicate noun first in English because word order is how you establish subject versus predicate noun. So you say our forefathers were slaves of Pharaoh in Egypt. And Yotziim Adonai Eloheinu, and the Lord our God, okay, Yahweh Eloheinu, Hotziotam, brought them out. Hotziotam is Vayotziim. He brought them out from there. Be tells us how. It's the instrumental, with a strong hand. Biyad chazaka. Notice that yad is not necessarily this. Yad is this. So to do something with a strong hand means with a strong arm. It means that you've got power, right? You do it with your strength. Yeah. God's got the power. See, we could make it a religious song. God's got the power. So with a strong hand and with great signs. Ot is a sign. Otot gdolot. Great signs or big signs. Wasn't something people could miss. He brought the people out with great signs. That is with the 10 plagues, and especially culminating in the death of the firstborn and then the splitting of the sea. Right? These are great signs. All right, number 12.
בא הנביא לפני המלך, ויאמר אליו, הלא ידעת כי המליכו בני ישראל עליהם מלך, ואתה אמרת כי שלמה בנך ישב על כיסאך אחריך. Okay. The prophet came before Buffery, before the king.
Before the king. Oh, look, see, I wrote the king with a bad space. I think I'll go ahead and correct that while we're here, because move that off the screen.
And said to him,
I am such a nerd. I can't believe that I gave the word Palki in the last session.
Do you not know? Do you not know? Sorry.
Have you not heard? Do you not know? Have you not heard?
That the children, let's just say the Israelites, just because I'm doing it.
הלא ידעת כי המליכו בני ישראל עליהם מלך?
Have
Hello,
set
Data.
over them a king.
Over themselves, right? Because it's this really is a reflexive thing.
Thank you.
And why don't we take a king and put it after set? They have set a king over themselves.
Well, if you want to be like that about it, that's fine. I guess.
They've coronated a king over themselves. And the ve'ata here is obviously a distinction. It's a distinction to what's happened.
But
do you know that the Israelites have set a king over themselves? But you yourself, ve'ata amarta, you yourself, the ata here is emphatic, so it's you yourself have said.
Said that Solomon, your son, not your son, your son, well, maybe that too, your son will.
Okay, so now we have amalta, which is in the past tense, and yeshev in the future. This is a perfect example of where will, yeshev, becomes would, because the past tense is the speaking. Ata amarta ki Shlomo bincha yeshev al kisacha. You said that Solomon your son would sit upon your throne. He would sit. Because would is the past tense of will. How do you have the past tense of the future? You do. Hu amar shu yavo. He said he would come. Yavo.
It's not
because in Hebrew we don't have would.
Counterfactual. It's a thing that's not.
No, it's not counterfactual. Not necessarily.
Well, it's a thing that's not.
אמרת שתבוא והנה אתה פה. אמרת שתבוא והנה אתה פה. You said you would come and look, you're here. It's not counterfactual. It's a reporting of something that was said in the future, in the past. Don't you think? Yes. So the thing that's going on is that when I say something in the future from now, I say, I will do it. And then you count it back to me, you recount it to me. You say, you said that you would. I will, you said that you would. Will in the past tense becomes would. Like can in the past tense becomes could.
Worlds thing. Like it's not a...
But it's not necessarily counterfactual because it could be that you did it.
Counterfactual is not the word, but it's not. It's not
a hypothetical.
Yeah, it's a hypothetical. That's what I meant. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
a
it
yeah.
is. That's really where it comes from.
Yeah.
So the tense in Spanish would be with the ia ending. So comeria, he would eat. Comeria. It's
Yeah.
a hypothetical, conditional type tense.
Yeah.
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 Mhm.
I'm cool
Yeah.
with that. Yeah. I just said the wrong thing.
And you can feel that in Spanish, the comeria is formed off of comere. Comere, comerá, the future. Comeremos, we will eat. I will eat, comeré. I will eat.
I never learned the
And
future in Spanish.
yo comería is I would eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's built off of the same tense. And in Hebrew, it really is the same tense. There's no distinction in form.
Yeah.
All right, so, ותדבר האישה החכמה מעל החומה לאמור. Okay, so this is like, I guess this is Rachab without having read the rest, but we see her, she's on the wall and she's looking over talking. תמצא נא אמתך חן בעיני אדוני, והגידה לנו את מי אתה מבקש, וכורדנו אותו אליך. ולמה ניפול אנחנו בחרב? בחרב, בחרב. Oh, I want to go off on a tangent and tell you why Becharev is the same as Bacherev. I want to tell you why, but I don't think I should because we have other things we need to get through this.
I mean,
That's in pause, where Cherev becomes Charev,
right.
and you can't have Patach or Patach or Kamatz in front of Cha that's stressed.
Right.
So Echad and Becharev are the same phonological rule. It's the rule of what's happening in your mouth, in your throat. It's the same rule. Echad is actually achad. Achad. That's what it really is. But we say echad because we don't want two kamatzes together with that chet. All right, so that's how you say it really quick without explaining it visually. So the wise woman, okay, the wise woman spoke from she spoke over the wall or from upon the wall, saying, this is what she said. May, this is Joseph, may your servant girl, your maid servant, right? May your maid servant, that's what we said with Amma earlier, find favor in the eyes of my Lord. Meaning, may I find favor in your eyes, which in plain English just means, I hope you like me. Right?
Yeah.
It means I hope you like me. May your maidservant find great favor in the eyes of my Lord. And tell me, or tell us, Hagida lanu. Now this is imperative. And tell us whom you are seeking. Et miyata mevakesh. And we will let them down to you. We will bring them down to you. So all of these, and. Let's get rid of them. It's ugly. Let's make this an imperative. May your maidservant find favor in the eyes of my Lord. May it happen. I hope it does. Please like me. Tell us whom you are seeking, and we'll let them down to you. Bring them down to you. Okay? And let's get rid of this and say why. Why should we like us, why should we ourselves fall by the sword? Right? You're looking for this one person. Tell us who it is. We'll give them to you and spare the rest of us. Don't let us all die for the sake of this one person that you want to take.
Yeah.
We'll give him to you. Just please let us live. Okay? So that's not Rachab. It's not Joshua.
Okay.
I'm not sure who this is.
No,
Do you know who this is talking about?
Yeah, who was I know the story because maybe it's David was running from Saul. It could have been. And he came to one of the cities and Saul came against cities and the city was like, no, wait, who do you want? We'll just send him out.
Please take David. Go kill him.
Yeah, and it's like right after David defended the city against somebody else. I think I think that's what's happening. I'll see if I can find
Nice.
what I'm saying. And okay, vayitavu, vayitavu דבריך בעיניו מאוד. ויאמר אליך ברוכה את לאדוני אשר נתן חכמה בלבך כי הצלת את כל יושבי העיר ממוות. Okay.
Just as far as pronunciation, it's not really proper, but I'm sure that you know that Yoshua became Yeshua, right? And Jonathan became Jonathan, and all of these names. Why did this happen? Because, oh, that's your daddy.
Hey, there he is.
Look, your daddy's here, and my mama's here.
See, I told you that. So you probably can't tell. Well, you can when Jason pulls it up. Told you Jason's mom is here all the time. She comes in too. You're good. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I love you. Good to see you.
So what happens is that when we have this hey, the letter hey, between vowels, it tends to disappear. Ooh, I didn't mean to select all the text. Sorry about that. It tends to disappear. They call it intervocalic hey. Intervocalic. It means between vowels. So this is what happened with, like, for example, we know the word lehoshia. Lehoshia means to deliver, right? Deliver us, right? Lehoshia.
Yeah.
So in the future, it would normally have been Yehoshia. Yehoshia means he will deliver. But the Yeho died, and it became Yoshia. Yoshia. So this is what happened with most of the Hifiels. In the future, they became, instead of Yeho, they became Yo. Were you aware of this?
I have seen a similar thing, yes, like with the... it's similar to what happens in Aramaic from the Hafel to the Afel, from the Imperial to the Targumic Aramaic.
So let's see what happens with these words, Devareha and Eleha. Devareha and Eleha. It is totally correct to say Devareha and Eleha. This is correct. But in normal speech, people don't say it because the intervocalic hey disappears, and instead we say Dvaria and Elea. Elea and Alea. Alea. Alea means upon her, Elea to her, but we don't say Eleha.
Yeah.
And Aleha and Devareha. It's technically correct to pronounce the hey, but most speakers of Hebrew will not. Does that make sense? Okay. ויטבו דבריה בעיניו מאוד, ויאמר אליה, ברוכה את לאדוני אשר נתן חכמה בלבך, כי הצלת את כל יושבי העיר ממוות. This might influence how we translated another verse up at the top where Abraham saved Lot. And the response was, Baruch ata leElohim. Blessed are you to God.
Yeah.
And this is, blessed are you to Adonai.
So I have something I want to run by you I think is interesting. For you
Okay, this is the subject, so it can't be whom, but who.
Yeah, it's probably an accident.
And gave here is put.
Yeah, I know.
Who put wisdom in your heart.
Fix it. Natsal, what is that?
To save. Latzil.
Thank you, all the inhabitants. Wow, that was wild. I don't know how I got that word from inhabitants. Inhabitants of... all the inhabitants of the city from death. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the the Baruch Atah Ladonai thing, like
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend who is like, this is the closest thing. He's like, I feel like you could use this to say thank you in biblical Hebrew. Like, this is a phrase that would mean thank you. Like, and I'm like, I see it at the same time. It's totally not. It's totally not good enough. It's just like,
I don't know. I've not thought about that. That's something to think about.
but it works. Look at the context. It's like, thank you. It's like, you are blessed to the Lord. Thank you for what you have
Thank
done.
you for saving all the inhabitants of the city from death.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's in the context of the kings of Sodom and all of that coming out against whenever they stole. Remember Lot.
Yeah.
So something to look at. Because blessed are you, Abraham. I don't know. We should look at it.
Yeah.
וישלח מלך ישראל מלאכים אל הנביא לאמור. כה אמר המלך, רד אליי. ויאמר עליהם הנביא, לא ארד. This is Elijah. ואם איש אלוהים אנוכי, תרד אש אלוהים משמיים, ואכלה אתכם. וידבר הנביא את הדברים האלה, ותרד איש משמיים ותאכל אותם. Wow, that's awful, but cool. So it says the king of Israel. This would be Achav, right? Achav, the king of Israel?
Yeah, I believe so, yep.
Ahab. He was the husband of
Yezebel.
You trash. So the king of Israel sent messengers. He sent angels. He sent angels to the prophet. Sent messengers to the prophet, saying, what did he say? Thus said the king, come down to me. Come down to me. Okay. And that's the end of that quote. And the prophet, that is Elijah, said, what did he say? I will not come down. All right. So this is what Ahab wanted from him, to come down and treat with him. And he said, no. And if I am a man of God, if I'm a man of God, v'im ish Elohim anochi, if I'm a man of God, and this is adjussive, may the fire of God, what's the fire of God? I don't know, but a great fire, may a conflagration, a great fire, may a conflagration come down from the sky and devour you. If I am a man of God, may a great fire. Ish Elohim doesn't mean, or Esh Elohim, excuse me. Ish Elohim and Esh Elohim. I think there's a play on words there. Ish Elohim, man of God. Esh Elohim, fire of God. But obviously, fire of God doesn't mean fire of God, because there's no such thing. What is fire of God? Don't know. But Elohim can mean great, mighty, powerful. A great fire, a powerful fire, a conflagration. We could maybe render it as a divine fire. Like it's not natural, right? It's too powerful. May a great fire, a divine fire, come down from the sky, from heaven, and devour you. And it came to pass, as the prophet was speaking. As the prophet was speaking these words, while he was speaking these words, or as he was speaking these words, let's go with while because that's fun. So that is our temporal statement. Oops, I keep doing the end, the shift or whatever. As the prophet was speaking these words, that fire came down from heaven, or from the sky. Like the sky, fire came down from the sky and devoured them. Remember in the story of Elijah that Ahab actually sent several mishlachot. He sent several envoys, groups of messengers to him, and each time there was a different number of people, and each time fire came down and ate them. So it's an interesting story. All right, that's the end of that.
By the way, it was Sheba who is running from, or Sheba, who is running from David's armies, not the other way around. Not David running from somebody. So they came to a city, and a wise woman called from the city. Listen, I'm just reading the NIV. It says, listen, tell Joab to come here so I can speak to him. He went toward her and she asked, are you Joab? He said, I am. He said, I'm listening. The woman said, his head will be thrown to you from the walls. And so they actually cut his head off and threw it over to him. Is what they did. Yeah, actual story.
Now, Joab was David's commander or captain, right?
Yep.
And that's another example of the disappearing hay, because Yoav is the same as Yehoav. Yehoav is simplified as Yoav. Yeah. Yoav is actually a name that's still used in Israel today, by the way. All right, guys, it's been a pleasure. As always, since we're able to do this now, let's do it again. These are our patrons from patreon.com. We appreciate you guys so much. You make this possible. You make it fun. And we're so glad that you have chosen to help and support us. And so if anybody else wants to join, patreon.com/thehebrewcafe.com, or not, .com, the Hebrew Cafe, and give us a little bit of money if you could, because it helps with everything we do. Muriel, thanks as always as being one of our patrons, and you're always here. It's very appreciated. And we are going to go over to our patron-only session, which is Weingreen Exercise 34, English to Hebrew. That's one of our benefits of the Patreon program, that you get to participate in what we do. You can come up on screen like Colton does and participate, and also you get to view the more difficult material that's aimed really at sharpening your Hebrew by going from English into Hebrew. So please come and join us, and we will see you guys either in the next hour or next week. Thanks so much. We'll see you.